Hey, how's it going everyone? So last year in December, Makoto Shinkai revealed a new anime film he was making. Shinkai is known for making many quickly acclaimed and successful anime films such as Kimi no Wa, also known as Your Name, and Tenki no Ko, also known as Wedding with You. So I'll be discussing my thoughts and speculations on this and what I'm expecting. This film will be called Suzume no Tojimari. A new teaser was shown last month in April that lets us catch a glimpse of what the film might be like. To this day, he hasn't thought up of an English title yet. Literally, the title translates to Suzume is locking up, but that just doesn't sound good for an English title, and probably not what the film will end up being titled as. If I had to think of one, I would say Suzume is Closing would be a good one, or to go a little farther off in imagination, Closing of Doors sounds pretty good too, if I say so myself. If the English title actually ends up being any of these two, you heard it here first, give me all the credit. I was so excited for this since I loved Kimi no Wa and Tenki no Ko so much when I first watched it. They're one of the few films that really sucked me into its world from start to finish, which is usually pretty difficult to accomplish for anime films, at least in my case. Taking a look at the synopsis really quick, the film is about Suzume, a 17-year-old girl who lives in a quiet town in the Kyushu region of southwestern Japan. The story begins when Suzume meets a young man looking for a door. The two travel together and find an old door at an abandoned house in the mountains. As if pulled by something, Suzume reaches out her hand towards the door and is pulled in. Doors of disaster begin to appear across Japan, which started a series of unfortunate disasters. The film is a journey through Japan as Suzume needs to close and lock the door of disaster one by one to stop the disasters themselves. This film will also serve as an adventure and battle in the modern world in search of a girl's maturity and freedom. Naturally, like most of his films, it will most likely be a film involving the coming of age of a young girl who is in this case the titular character Suzume. I'm sure Shinkai took some inspiration from Doraemon and the Dokodemo door or Anywhere door, since the story centers around these doors that could take you anywhere across Japan. Shinkai stated that this movie will have 3 important points: a road movie around Japan, the closing of doors rather than the opening of them, and a reason to visit the movie theaters. Being produced at a time during the pandemic, it's natural to see the movie have some reflection of what Japan and the rest of the world is experiencing and recovering from, and the insinuation that the closing doors may refer to tying up loose ends and perhaps closure of a state of turmoil that has happened. The mood and atmosphere of these past few years will consequentially be an influence on this film, as the theme will be post-apocalyptic. That's why I suspect this movie will hit very close to home for a lot of people, more than its predecessors. Between Your Name, Wedding with You, and Suzume no Tojimari, this film seems to be the most extravagant and otherworldly. Strangely enough, despite this, I think it will somehow tie in with the first 2 movies one way or another, since we already know that Your Name and Wedding with You takes place in the same world. The fact that they are all coming of age films with a significant and incredible main heroine for a character, along with a similar art style that all 3 films seem to share, I'd be really surprised if the films actually aren't tied together. Also, why would they set this movie up in Kyushu if that's the case? Because Tokyo is obviously supposed to be underwater still, right? I'm hoping I get to see Taki and Mitsuha along with Hina and Horaka in this new movie, since we found out they've associated with each other during Tenki no Ko. Who knows, maybe even like a triple date, assuming there's any romance in Suzume no Tojimari. This film, Suzume no Tojimari, or Closing of Doors, I'm calling it, guys, that's what this film is going to be called, will premiere in fall 2022 on November 11th.